And we are here with the head coach of the Quinnipiac Bobcats, Tom Moore. Coach, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
And Coach, how is the team geared up for the season?
I'll tell you, a lot of enthusiasm within our team. I think it's a byproduct of having so many young guys. But I wish we had a few more veterans. To be honest with you, I'd like our balance a lot more. If we had, maybe 8 or 9 returnees and 4 or 5 new guys. But we have 4 guys who played last year in uniform. 1 guy who was sitting out, and then 8 new faces. So. You can tell by the strain in my voice that we have some trying days in practice, but it's not through lack of effort or not through lack of competitiveness or through lack of enthusiasm. It's really fun working with such a big group of fresh faces. They learn every day and they come to practice hard every day. So we're excited. I think among on our campus and maybe in the people who follow us in New Haven, they're unsure because we lost Justin Ruddy, who was such a sort of a focal point of our whole program for 4 years, and we lost another young guy named Deontay Twyman, who was a good player for 2 years for us. So I'm not quite sure people know what to think. We were picked preseason in the NEC 5th, and that's probably about where we should be picked. I think if you just look at all the rosters in our league on paper. So we're excited. This time of the year, I think everyone is excited to get going.
Yeah, and now you're gearing up for a big game against, obviously, Fairfield, who's been getting a ton of preseason hype from the media. Preseason ranked number 2 in the MAC, a few big transfers. How do you get the young guys mentally prepared for a big game like this so early on in the season?
Well, the good thing about it is I think our guys are so young that they're not even really accustomed to who the good teams are in the Northeast at our level. I don't think if you ask our guys to our guys would have trouble probably naming all the 12 teams in our league right now, the young guys, never mind the MAC, So that's good in a way, and we scrimmaged Iona Friday night at our place, who everybody is saying will be with you guys in Fairfield at the top of the league, and so that was a good barometer for us because I've drawn the parallel quite a bit that I think Fairfield will be as big a challenge as Iona was the other night. So I think that was good for us to sort of put our toe in the water against a team that most people consider to be the equal of Fairfield, and but they're like I said, our guys are excited for the challenge.
Now you mentioned 8 new freshmen. What are some of the hardships that goes into putting together a team with so many young players?
Well, it's funny. You take the good thing is, like I mentioned, they're really enthusiastic and they really compete hard against each other. We've gone 3 hours every single day since we started, and I've never done that with any of the 4 teams I've had here, and I can't remember in all the years at UConn us going 3-hour practices this deep into the season. Usually you start to taper off, but we have so much teaching to do and so many things to get in that we feel the need to. But the neat thing about our guys is they've allowed us to do that. They've really sort of stayed with things mentally and kept learning and doing things at a high level for the entire 3 hours. So, some days you come out of here and you're like, geez, we have a chance to be pretty good. And then there's other days where, because they're young, and if 3 or 4 of them take a step back and forget things or whatever, it's a lot of teaching. It's a lot of, because some of the things that we had ingrained in our older teams, it doesn't come second nature to this group. So it's just, I joke about my voice being strained, but it's the truth. You're talking the whole time because there's always somebody that needs to be pulled aside and told this is how we do it and that type of thing. So
yeah, and you mentioned that you only have 4 returning players. How vital is their leadership in leading these young guys basically into a battle?
I yell at the 4 guys who've played before for us are James Johnson, Dave Johnson, Jamie Jackson, and Ike Azatam. And I yell at those guys as much as I yell at the freshmen, because it's almost like when I get on the freshmen, I get on them for the freshmen screwing up too. So they feel I'm just trying to make them understand that they have ownership in the team and they have ownership in this season, and they have to pull someone with them, and they're doing a good job. It's not Ike's personality at all. It's not Dave or Jamie's. It is a little bit James, but to get the guys who it's not their natural personality, that's a real challenge. But they're trying hard and they're trying to do the right thing, and so far they've been good.
What would you say is going to be the biggest difference between this year's team and last year's team?
Well, I think last year's team for us scored easier. Justin Ruddy could get us points either just by us getting him the ball in the right position or off offensive rebounds. And when you have a kid who was like, I think 2 years ago, he was second in the country in offensive rebounds per game to DeJuan Blair, and then last year he was I think in the top 5 or so. What it does is it doesn't allow you to have. You can run bad offense and you can have turnovers. You can take some bad shots. And if he cleans up a bad possession by just sort of going to get the ball and putting it back up and in, it doesn't let teams really get good spurts against you. And we didn't have a lot of like 8-2, 10-0 runs, things like that against us. My fear is that this team won't score as easy without his 16 points a game. Now, the kid like Azatam, the sophomore, I think has a real chance to emerge and become a real good player. And I think Jamie Jackson, as he enters his junior year, with more responsibility put on both of those guys' shoulders, I think they're ready to be good. I don't need either of them to beat Justin per se, but as long as they just improve on what they did as freshmen and sophomores, I think we'll be pretty good.
Yeah. What would you say is the biggest strength of this team?
It's funny. We're probably more athletic than we've been before. We're deeper than we've been before. I think we can go. I don't really have much of a difference from my second best player, I'd say, to like even my 12th or 13th guy. There's not a big difference. There's a lot of interchangeable parts. And again, so far it looks like we're going to rebound the ball pretty well. I was nervous about that with Justin leaving, but we were. In our 2 scrimmages, we scrimmaged at Northeastern too. The first time we were like plus 17 on the glass against those guys, and we were plus about 23 or 24 on the glass against Iona. So, we've done what we've done the last couple of years without Justin in the first 2 exhibitions. So I like the mindset, at least, to go rebound at both ends is sort of carried over with this year's group.
And what are your expectations for this team?
I think we try to have the same expectations every year to win the Northeast Conference, and much like Fairfield, I think the work that Coach Cooley did there, and I'm sure the work that Coach Johnson will continue to do because he's outstanding, and the support that Gene Doris gives them, and just the following they've built up, and how that thing has really gone in the right direction in the last 4 or 5 years. Much like you guys in the MAC, we feel we're one of the best programs in the NEC, so we're trying to get that elusive NCAA tournament bid. I know you guys were tracking for it last year. We were tracking for it the last couple of years too, and it's the nature of these leagues where it's a one bid league. You really have to be playing your best basketball. I don't even say in March. I say like really in the last 80 minutes of the season. For us, it's been, we lost the semifinal game on the last possession, and we lost the championship game on the last possession. So, it's almost like we've lost the bid with a minute left to go in the season, and we lost the bid with like 40 minutes and 30 seconds to go in the season. So you almost have to just be really good on that last weekend. You got to be healthy. You got to be playing well. Guys have to be confident. And then within those last games, the ball's to break your way. You got to make your free throws. Somebody's got to stay out of foul trouble. Someone's got to make a tough shot. Someone on the other team's got to dribble it off their leg. Things like that come into play. And we're trying to get the NCAA bid. I think on paper, last year we were the best team heading in, and we didn't do it. This year, someone else in our league will be considered the best team. They're saying LIU, and I think that's the case. We're hoping they don't do it, and that we're in a position to go and grab it at the end of the year.
Last one. Both teams start off in the Connecticut Six. It's 3rd year of play, and so far the Connecticut Six has been a success.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I think it's terrific. I think there's for something like this, I think, to work, I don't think you can take a sample of, is this good or is this bad after 2 years or even 4 or 5 or 6. I mean, I'd like to see us stay with it for 7, 8, 9 years, and just let's see if we can take on a little tradition, and let's just keep trying to improve it. And I trust the people in charge. I think they work really hard, and I know Jack McDonald, our athletic director, really commits to it and is enthusiastic about keeping it alive. I know the same can be said for Gene Doris at Fairfield, and the people there have really sort of tried to take a lead, I think, on the thing and done a really good job. But, I think if we get people who want to keep it alive and who are really passionate about basketball and they continue to meet on it, and I think it will continue to get better. And let's let's let it settle in as a tradition and see if it can really take hold, because I think it's getting there in terms of being something where people are like, oh yeah, and